Your credit card company could be forced by Washington to make changes to the way they bill you. While you may see less fine print and confusing charges, there's still plenty of pitfalls to watch out for. And with us now is Kelli Grant, senior consumer reporter for smartmoney.com. Good morning.
Good morning.
So we've heard a lot of stuff in the news about credit card companies and the rules that are changing. Explain to us what's happening now with this.
Well, as it stands, the rules are going to go into effect in late February. We've got a few that went into place in August and September, but the bulk of them are going to go into place next year. So card issuers are really looking at their portfolio of cards and trying to figure out how they're going to profit once these changes go into place. And they're putting in some pretty nasty changes into effect now to hedge their bets against next year.
One of the main things that I look at when I compare credit cards is the rate. And you're saying that they're going to go up? What's happening?
Rates are going up across the board. That's the first thing they're looking at. We just had Citibank that sent out notifications to cardholders that their rates were going up to 29.9%. And these are accounts in good standing too. So for consumers, you really need to be looking at your rate and watching it where it's going. The good news is some of the parts that are already in place of this Card Act require the issuer to give you 45 days notice of a rate change. So you've at least got ample time to be shopping around if you do hear that your rate is going up.
Wow, 30% is astronomical. I've also heard that there's going to be a change in annual fees even if you're a good customer who pays on time.
A lot of banks are experimenting with annual fees, which traditionally we've only seen, or at least in recent years, on cards that have really phenomenal benefits because you're basically paying for the privilege of having that. Now we've got Bank of America that's been experimenting with fees of $30 to $100 on some accounts. They still haven't quite figured out what they're doing there. If you do have a card that's being charged with an annual fee, just really look at the benefits, crunch the numbers, and see if it's worth it to you. If not, you may need to go to a card that doesn't have a rewards program, kind of a no-frills, simple card that's at least free.
What should you be thinking about when it comes to variable rates?
Variable rates are a big important part of what's going on right now. The fixed rate card has pretty much disappeared and it's all variable, which you're going to see a fixed portion from the bank and then also a variable portion. It's usually just fixed plus a prime rate, and the prime rate is only going to go up. So for consumers who are shopping around, you want to look for a low fixed part that comes from the bank because that's going to be the part that's really going to make a difference once the prime rate goes up.
A lot of people use their credit cards when they travel overseas. It's a good way. In the past, it's been a good way to get some money over there, but is it now?
Not so much anymore. In the past, issuers would charge a foreign transaction fee of up to 4% when you made a purchase in another country's currency. Now they've broadened it so that it's any transaction with a foreign company. So we're seeing, just any trip abroad is going to cost you. Even if you're not necessarily going abroad, but you're making a transaction with a foreign company. We've heard a lot of stories from people who, they're going on a cruise, down the coast of California, but because the cruise line is based in another country, they're getting charged for that, and the cruise lines have to reimburse them. So really do shop around. Right now, Capital One is one of the few big issuers that does not charge a foreign exchange fee.
And lastly, I know you mentioned that February was the timeline that we're looking at, but there's also been some talk it could be sooner. What's happening there? Congress
is really pushing to try to get this through sooner. We've had a few little hints that it might happen as early as December 1st, but that's still up in the air. So for consumers, really just pay attention and shop around and make sure that you know what's going on with your credit card in particular. And keeping it or closing it can be the way to send your message to the credit card companies about what they're doing. We're hearing for the holidays a lot of people are going to cash, layaway, debit cards, so send the message by not using your card. All right, Kelli Grant, senior consumer reporter for smartmoney.com. Thank you so much. Thank you. And you can get much more by going to the Up to the Minute page of CBSnews.com, and then when you're there, click on Personal Finance.